A new poll says Americans now overwhelmingly support Donald Trump's economic agenda, even if they don't like him. This matters as the Uniparty Congress gears up to fight Donald Trump because it means they're not fighting Trump, they are fighting their own voters. The numbers come from a new CNBC All-America poll of 1,000 Americans that found that 41% of Americans still oppose Trump, with 54% now supporting him. But what's interesting is when they ask about specific policies, support for Trump's agenda goes through the roof. So on his signature policy of immigration, 73% of Americans now want active duty troops deployed at the southern border to stop illegals, including 49% of Democrats. Just 24% oppose it. As for the economy, the same 73% of Americans want government spending cut, just 22% disagree, which by sheer coincidence is roughly the number of Americans who work for government. This matters as DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, goes to war with the drunk spenders in Congress who allegedly serve those 73% of Americans who want it cut. Now, Americans want regulations cut by 2 to 1. They want business taxes cut by 2 to 1. They want more drilling for oil on federal land, again, by 2 to 1. 78% of Americans want income tax cuts. Now, sadly, they did not poll what percent of Americans want to abolish the IRS, which may be more than 78%. What's striking, of course, is that every single one of these overwhelmingly popular policies is opposed by roughly half of Congress. The case of cutting spending, more than half, meaning it really is shaping up to the people versus the Congress. Now, this is weird considering Congress, in theory, serves the people and only the people. But, of course, big government buys a lot of friends who write checks to Congress things. So if it boils down to the people versus the donors, the special interests, whether it's wars and low-wage donors importing an army of migrant wage slaves, or left-wing activists who literally get their paycheck and fund their riots from taxpayer pockets. So how did we get a federal government where donors outbid voters? In short, mainstream media put a fist on the scale, gaslighting voters into a federal government where no donor is left behind. But one of the starkest lessons from the 2024 election is the fading power of that legacy media. Now, there are still millions of especially older voters who don't realize media is lying to them, but the spell is breaking and is breaking fast. When 3/4 of voters say they want the entire Trump agenda after 8 years of nonstop media demonizing Trump, the end is nigh for the Uniparty media. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. The American people are rapidly coming to the conclusion that whether or not they like Donald Trump, they very much want what he's promising. Smaller government, less taxes and regulations, cheap energy, and of course control over illegal migrants. At this point, the key is for those of us outside the legacy media to do everything we can to remind Congress who they work for, the American people. And as the American people start to see the results, the higher wages, lower inflation, safer streets, and cheaper mortgages, that consensus becomes overwhelming, and eventually Congress steps aside. As been said, politics is the art of finding a parade and getting in front of it. The people have spoken. Congress needs to get in line or get primaried to oblivion. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.